Colmar is a scenic home base for our Alsatian explorations. Long popular with French and German tourists, this well-preserved old town of 70,000 overlooked and underrated by overseas travelers. Historic beauty was rarely an excuse to be spared the ravages of World War II, but it worked for the most beautiful city in the Alsace. The American and British military were careful not to bomb quaintly cobbled Colmar. Today, Colmar not only survives, it thrives, with 15th and 16th century buildings, rich art treasures, and popular cuisine. Colmar's charms are rooted in a wealthy medieval past. 15th century Colmar was one of 10 cities that joined together to make the Decapolis, a league of trading cities. As merchants met in this customs house, they were creating a new economic order. Trading leagues were reacting to the business problems that came with feudalism. No uniform currency, different weights and measures, terrible duties every few miles. This was good for the nobility, medieval Europe's rural landlords, but a chaotic nightmare for city merchants. To remove those barriers to free trade, many medieval European cities banded together to form trading leagues, like the Decapolis. This proudly decorated 16th century building was the home of a wealthy Colmar merchant. In those days, houses were taxed by square footage at street level, an incentive to build both up and out. Originally, Colmar's canals were busy transporting goods. Today, this canal only adds to the ambience in a neighborhood locals call La Petite Venise, the Little Venice. Colmar's knack for trade and its local industries, such as the leather business in this tanner's quarter, added up to a strong economy. Prosperity from trade meant money for art, and Colmar had more than its share. 3 great artists, Bartholdi, Schongauer, and Grunewald, called Colmar home. The Frederic Bartholdi Museum honors the great sculptor who created the Statue of Liberty, a gift from France to the United States on its 100th birthday. The museum offers interesting historical detail describing the creation of Lady Liberty and displays many of Bartholdi's sculptures. He adorned his hometown with many statues, most, it seems, with one arm held high. 400 years before Bartholdi, Martin Schongauer was Colmar's leading artist. His Virgin of the Rose Garden looks as fresh and crisp as the day it was painted in 1473. It's magnificently set in a Gothic Dominican church, surrounded by 14th century stained glass. The Latin words on Mary's halo read, "Pick me also for your child, O Holy Virgin." And for Schongauer, nature is more than a backdrop. Mary and Jesus are encircled by it. The way Jesus holds his mother, the Latin message, and the prominence of nature all work to drive home the theological point. Mary is accessible. A few blocks away, the Unterlinden Museum, my vote for the best small museum in Europe, fills a 750-year-old former convent. Matthias Grunewald's gripping Isenheim Altar piece is the museum's most important work. A model shows how this is a series of paintings on hinges that pivot like shutters. To understand the purpose of this particularly gruesome crucifixion scene, it helps to know who paid for it. The Isenheim Altar piece was commissioned 500 years ago by a monastery hospital filled with people suffering terrible skin diseases, a common cause of death back then. The hospital's goal, long before the age of painkillers, was to remind patients that Jesus understood their suffering. The many panels led patients through a series of Bible stories, culminating with this reassuring resurrection scene.